Hey everybody, it's George here, and I have a DVL-1 and I have a Metroplex, and I want to compare the modes and the tones of these two amps. Getting a lot of requests for people who want to know how they compare and how they contrast and choose between which one's going to be better for them. So what I want to do is start with 68 mode on both of these. I've got them on the amp switcher, and we've got the cabinet mic'd up in the demo room, so you can get a really good representation of what they're doing. As far as settings go, the masters are on 4, presence on about 6 for both amps, bass about 6 also, mids are back just a little bit, maybe 11 o'clock, so 4.5. Treble is up just a hair, almost to 6. Gain is right at 7 on both amps, and that's like the sweet spot that I find with both of these circuits. And that's it. No boost or variac or anything. Both are in the 100-watt mode. And when I'm switching with the switcher, the green is going to be the DVL-1 and the red is going to be the Metroplex. So here we go. 68 mode Metroplex. And now 68 mode DVL-1. Just from that, to me, what I'm hearing is there's a slightly different peak in the upper mid-range and low treble region with the DVL-1. It steps just away from sort of the plexi voicing that's so inherent in the Metroplex. It just kind of deviates a little bit, and there's a few reasons technically for that. Part of that is the power supply in the DVL-1, which is beefed up, and all of the voicing that was done on the DVL-1 with William here was with the amp at stage volume. And so all the minute tweaks that we were making were based at a high volume level. With the Metroplex, I tried to find a happy medium where it has the plexi tone and the plexi feel at all kind of volume levels. And there's some compensation with the master volume circuit to make sure it maintains that. So as you crank the Metroplex up, it gets louder, gets up at stage volume, you get the extra sort of thing that we've kind of built into the circuit tonally on the DVL-1. Overall though, very close and definitely in that super lead kind of a, turned all the way up, that super lead on 10 thing. Yeah, they're both right there. Okay, now I've gone to mod mode on both amps, and this is the mode on the DVL where I tweak the most. This is the furthest away from the original Metro-Plex circuit. So for Williams' needs, although he loved the mod mode on the Metro-Plex, it needed to be a little tighter and a little more modern to accommodate the Allison Chain stuff. So this is the mod mode on the Metro-Plex, and this stays very much in the plexi tone and feel realm, but it's just a hot rodded plexi, modded. You know, that's where mod comes from. My intention on the name for that. Whereas when I switch to the DVL, it gets tighter, the mids scoop out a little more, and it gets a little more saturated. So Metroplex. Metroplex. Okay, tune down now, and drop D really seems to help identify the contrast between the Metroplex and DVL-1 also. So this is Metroplex mod mode, drop D. Yeah, for my money, DVL-1 mod mode, that's where it's at. If you've got to do more modern tones, step away from the plexi vibe a little bit, and then you do drop D, and it just feels natural. That's where it should be. Okay, now I switched both amps over to 66 mode, and this is going to be the lower gain, kind of still super lead thing, but I did make some tweaks on this compared to the original Metro-Plex 66 mode, and again, it's just to dial it in for Williams needs and considerations of what volume level it's played at all the time. So let's see. This is the Metro-Plex 66 mode. And DVL. So the fourth mode on the DVL-1 is what we're calling the 65 mode, and this is the cleanest of them all. And we did pull out the 45-100 and set up the the switcher when I was dialing this in. And I'd like to say it leans that direction, but to be honest, it's not a 45-100 channel. It's still EL34 tubes, and it's still always kind of approaching the edge of breakup. It's not a pristine clean for the most part, especially with humbuckers. You can get a lot cleaner with single coils, of course, and lower output, but I wouldn't go so far as to call it a dedicated clean channel, but I would say it's a cleaner British voice kind of a tone. Now the Metro-Plex doesn't have a 65 mode, of course, so what I've done is plugged into the low input jack and I rolled the gain back to about 3, and so that's going to be kind of a close equivalent, but they're not the same, as you'll hear. So this is the DVL-1 65 mode. And Metro-Plex. Okay, so that's the gist of it. That's Metroplex versus DVL-1, and I hope that it answers some of the questions I've been getting about how do they compare. Is the DVL too far away from the Metroplex? Is it too modern? Is it vintage enough? I think the bottom line is the DVL-1 is the most sophisticated amp that I've ever designed and built, and it's the most versatile also. And if you listen to the modes compared, to me it feels like it's still Metroplex at heart, but it feels like it's evolved and it's been refined, just a bit. So the circuit has evolved a little bit over time. Not a huge deviation from where it started, but just little refinements, I would say. A few percent. It's not 15% different, 10%. It's just a few percent, and it's refining things. So I hope that was helpful, and I appreciate you taking a look.